Old wisdom says prevention is better than cure. From a public health standpoint, the two best ways to prevent diseases are clean water and vaccinations.
Vaccines are one of the greatest success stories in public health. Since the concept of vaccination started in the 1800s, vaccines have helped save millions and millions of lives all over the world. It is because of vaccines that deadly diseases like smallpox have been eradicated and India has become officially polio-free.
But when someone thinks of vaccines, they usually think of children getting vaccinations. But now, we have almost 70 vaccines against almost 30 diseases that are given to people of all ages. In fact, the herpes and pneumonia vaccines are given to people in their 60s. You're watching Doctors on Call, and I'm Dr. Sameer Gupta.
And I'm Dr. Sonia Lal Gupta. As we celebrate World Immunization Week, let us talk about a vaccine that may actually prevent cancer in women. That is the HPV vaccine. Now, India has 400 million women who are more than 15 years of age, putting them at a risk of cervical cancer. In India, almost 1.2 lakh cases of cervical cancer are diagnosed every year. And every year, 7 women die of cervical cancer, making it one of the most common cancers in women. HPV, also called the human papilloma virus, has a strong association with cervical cancer. According to the WHO, almost 100% of all cervical cancer cases have an underlying HPV infection. It is also thought to play a role in anal, oropharyngeal and some head and neck cancers. There are more than 100 types of HPV viruses. Some HPV viruses like HPV 6 and 11 cause genital warts, but two types in particular, HPV 16 and 18, account for 70% of all cervical cancers.
HPV is a sexually transmitted disease, but can also be transmitted by other intimate body contact. And it is estimated that most adults will get HPV infection during their lifetime. Now, in most cases, your body is able to fight off the HPV infection, but in a small percentage of people, the virus may overwhelm your body's immune system and may not be cleared, hence increasing your risk of cancer. Now, the scary part is you may be infected with HPV that causes cancer and never even know it. Now, there are two types of vaccines for HPV, the quadrivalent and the bivalent. Both these vaccines were tested in clinical trials and showed excellent efficacy and a dramatic reduction in the risk of cervical cancer. Vaccines are a safe way to increase your body's immune system. A vaccine is usually a weaker or dead version of the virus. In the case of HPV, DNA recombinant technology is used to make the virus proteins that are injected into your body via vaccine. Don't worry, a vaccine is not strong enough to make you actually get the infection, but it is strong enough to develop your immune system. Now, once in the body, the vaccine tricks the body into thinking it has been infected with the virus, and hence, the body's defense system make antibodies against the virus. Now you can think of it like soldiers that can fight against that specific virus. This is basically a test run against the actual infection, preparing the body for the future. Later in life, when there is an exposure to the actual virus that is stronger, the body is ready. The antibodies or the soldier cells are called into action and fight against the virus, basically preventing the infection altogether.
These vaccines are effective in preventing the infection and not in the treatment of someone who is already infected with HPV. So, it is important to get the vaccine before you get infected with the virus.
Absolutely. The HPV vaccine should be given before you ever get the infection. But the exact schedule of the vaccine varies from country to country. To know more, we spoke to Dr. Amanika Kumar, who is a cervical cancer specialist at the Mayo Clinic in America. Dr. Kumar, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me for this important conversation.
Dr. Kumar, we know that the vaccine schedule varies from country to country. Can you just expand upon this a little bit more, please?
The vaccine schedule is very dependent on the country you're in. So in America, we recommend this vaccine for all boys and girls from the age of 9 to 26, with the ideal age of vaccination between 11 and 12. And we give 3 vaccines at 0 months, 1 month, and at 6 months. Around the world, though, the WHO, the World Health Organization, has done some studies to look at whether just 2 vaccines would be equivalent to 3 vaccines. And what they've found is for girls less than 15, 2 vaccines is equivalent. And so if for girls in India who are less than 15, we would recommend 1 vaccine at 0 months and then a repeat vaccine at 6 months. However, if someone is older than 15, they should get the 3-month vaccine, 0, 1 month, and 6 months.
Do you think by employing large-scale vaccinations, the actual incidence of cervical cancer can go down?
Absolutely. The goal of these vaccines is to vaccinate as many people as possible and reduce cervical cancer so that it's no longer the most common leading cause of cancer death in the world and doesn't have devastating implications for women around the world. Just like we use vaccines to decrease the incidence of tetanus, measles, and yellow fever, we hope that we can use the same kind of strategy to decrease these the cervical cancer as well as anal cancers and head and neck cancers.
Now, the vaccine doesn't eliminate your risk of cancer, but it does reduce it dramatically.
The Indian Academy of Pediatrics and the Federation of Obstetrics and Gynecology recommend HPV vaccination in women above 9 years of age to reduce the risk of cervical cancer.
So please talk to your doctor about the HPV vaccination for you and your children. See you next week.